Okay, guys, this is my first attempt at Screeno-matic, which sounds fantastic. It kind of sounds like one of the old 1970s, 80s movies, Sniff-O-matic, stuff like that. Kind of into that style, so I dig it. I would like to thank Miss Ivester because I have completely taken her style of the lesson plan and incorporated into how mine would be. Also, I'd like to thank another person, unnamed, for their help with it. You know who you are. One thing that I found fascinating in the epigraphs, there's a lot of it. You know, you got the Washington stuff. I love the play that they talk about in Forge throughout, and obviously in my post earlier, mad respect to Baron von Steuben, who I am a huge fan of now. But one thing I really dug was the Abigail and John Adams that occurs in both books. Their conversation back and forth to each other. Abigail seems to be a lot more, even though I believe her parents owned slaves. Abigail seems to be a lot more sympathetic, and John Adams seems to be more. I don't know what the right word would be. Perhaps new to the idea in a way. I mean, you have that great epigraph in Forge where he talks about the guy cutting his hair, and how it just seems like amazement in a way. So what I was thinking is for a ninth grade class, to really make sure that they get what they need, is to use the letters between Abigail and John Adams during 1974. I'm sorry, 1774. Sorry, I'm trying to do this thing and talk at the same time. 1774 and 1771, wherein they would look at the letters that those two talked about and take it into the actual aspect of what was happening at the same time. So reading Chains and Forge is important, but understanding the overall scheme of things at the time would also be very important, and how these two people who were a major power or at the time could or could not control the future of where the country was going in terms of it, slavery specifically. So one thing, looking at learning standards, you know, what my lesson plan would do would analyze how the author unfolds an analysis of events, including the order in which the points are made, how they're introduced, developed, and the connections that are drawn between them, as well as integration of knowledge and ideas that analyze various accounts of the subject told in different mediums. Not only the person's life story in print medium, but as well as other people who view things that were happening at the time. And I really like the idea of making it a group effort. So that's where those go to. Again, to target learners and ninth grade students. So the learning task, you can read it. I'm going to read it out loud just to have it. Students in a group of 3 will analyze the letters referenced in both Forge and Chains regarding Abigail and John Adams' letters during slavery. They would then compare these writings to the actual laws or discussions applied during the time of the books. They would then be required to create their own timeline of what was voted upon by Congress, as well as be given extra credit for any information outside of the Continental Congress records that might have either supported or negated the Adams' personal opinion. This is to help them fully grasp the world around them through the eyes of those who are trying to change or maintain the world in which our protagonists of the book are forced to survive. You got various things we can do with the awesome Screeno-matic title. Thank you. I say thank you. I didn't actually make it, but still, nonetheless, it's a killer title. Screeno-matic. Start calling everything I've got. I'm gonna call my guitar a Guitar-O-matic, and my remote control my TV or Remote-O-matic. Might be going too far, nonetheless. So the process would be students would be put into groups of 3 and each given copies of the full letters between Abigail and John Adams tied to the letters, which should not be capitalized, thank you, during the Continental Congress, which are referenced in both Forge and Chains. And I have a website I found that actually can pull those up. Students with special needs or whatnot, the politically correct saying of that, will have the sections of importance highlighted to better understand what is being asked. They will also be asked to create a visual timeline of laws implemented during the time which would have shown the mentality of slavery in the new country, meaning they would create a timeline of themselves, drawing it online, talking about it. However, how did it go? What actually happened during that time? What was not only discussed, I mean, that's a nice way to also look at it, but what was implemented in the country during the same time that we have Curzon and Isabel living through this turmoil? Obviously Ashes hadn't come out, so we're going with the first 2 books on this one. And finally, they will then record a 5-minute video, or podcast that discusses the turmoil created between the Adams and what laws were able to be implemented and how this would have impacted both Curzon and Isabel. The third part is very important because Curzon and Isabel, things happen around them, obviously. I mean, that's the whole point of the book. I mean, they're living through as best they can, but things happen around them which are brought down by other people. I mean, they're voted upon. Their lives are changed by other people above them, not just Washington, but people in Congress themselves. And I think that's what's more fascinating to me. And then at the bottom, I got some of the references. I actually found a pretty cool little Adams right here. I don't know how to highlight it. Morgan did it on hers. Not a clue right now, but I'm learning this. The Adams Electronic Archive actually shows the different letters. And they go beyond the letters the way I do it, but it's more of to create it so they have a standard that they could go with. So this is kind of like what I would think would be a cool lesson plan to bring them in and understand the overall of what's going on with actual phrasings from the epigraphs by the Adams in the book. So hope this works. I hope this makes any sense. If not, I guess you'll let me know. So thanks, guys, for listening to this. And if all you get is a black screen that comes up and no noise or my annoying voice, let me know, because apparently I did not know how to work the Screen-O-Matic. So again, thank you, and I will be talking to you guys soon, I guess next week.